It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. Today, we welcome a pair of hoop legends who helped make history over 4 decades ago. The most famous of the 50 Indiana University men's basketball teams was the 1975-76 squad. Coached by Hall of Famer Bobby Knight, the Hoosiers went 32-0 and captured the program's 3rd national championship. That team featured Bobby Wilkerson. He averaged 7.8 points per game and a shade over 4 rebounds that season. IU won 34 straight games during Wilkerson's tenure and was 36-1 overall during his time in Bloomington. Another standout on that squad was Benson. His tip-in against Michigan midway through the season helped Indiana preserve their perfect record. The Hoosiers went on to knock off the Wolverines in overtime before embarking on their historic run in the NCAAs.
Down to 7 seconds. Off to Scott Murray. Baseline. Back out to Quinn. Jump shot in the air. Doesn't fall. Cruz tips it up. Tip up again. Good! Good! It went in! Let's see if it counts! It does! It counts! They tied it up in there in overtime. Benson tipped the ball in at the horn. And Indiana has tied it, and they'll go into overtime. Bradford on a break, 5 seconds to go drive, shoots it up, and Benson, Hamlin scores again. Indiana's number 1. They've won it. Indiana's won it. They're the national champions for 1976. Can you believe it? Incredible.
And just in time for March Madness, we now welcome Bobby Wilkerson and Kent Benson to this live stream of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. Welcome into another live stream edition of Listen In with KNN. I appreciate you all joining me here. This is our first live stream episode of March. March Madness is here, folks. College basketball, one of our favorite times of the year. And of course, lots happening in DC. So of course, I do want to address that first. We've got a new quarterback in town in Carson Wentz. Lots of mixed emotions here in DC, but hoping he can get the job done and help this team get back to being hopefully kings of the NFC East. And then also in national news, baseball is back. All right. MLB lockout ends. MLBPA and the owners reach an agreement. We get the full 162 game season, folks. So lots happening in sporting news. And then resorting it back here to the DMV area on our latest audio show, we recently welcomed former Maryland basketball player, NBA player, lawyer, senior lecturer, TV analyst Lynn Elmore to the show. Lynn and I had a chance to dish on who we think should take the helm as the next head coach of the University of Maryland men's basketball team. Of course, talked all that's going on with Grambling State University, Art Briles, and now John Simon, and so much more. And then also gave our thoughts on Georgetown and fixing Georgetown basketball. What can we do to hopefully help Pat Ewing get Georgetown back to greatness? So all that and more. And staying with the basketball theme, I'm now so excited to have a live show with folks. If you're from Indiana, you're going to like these names that I'm about to welcome on. I'm going to bring on former Indiana Hoosiers stars Bobby Wilkerson and Kent Benson. You guys, almost 45 years later, since that 1976 Hoosiers team. They're the last NCAA team to secure an undefeated record and win an NCAA championship. If you don't know how hard it's been, that's why it's been 45 years, all right? It's very hard to do, and we don't know if we'll ever see that broken. So excited they're joining me here live. We have lots to talk about in the college basketball space, so bring your questions, bring your comments. I see we're already getting comments in. And again, this is going to be a very fun show, so let me bring them both on. I'm first going to bring on Kent. Kent, how are you?
I am blessed, Kelsey. Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of your show here. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. And then now let's get on Bobby. Bobby, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Kelsey. I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to it.
I am so excited for the show. All right, let's kick it off. March Madness is here. I see both of you all repping Indiana. Of course, I want to talk about what we've seen so far. We have the Big Ten tournament. Indiana Hoosiers, folks, if you haven't had a chance to watch that game versus Michigan, Juwan Howard's back on the bench. Indiana came back to win that game, 74-69, after being down as much as 17 points. How happy does that make you all to see this Indiana squad rolling? I'll start with you, Ken.
Well, Indiana's been a long time coming back to the tradition that we set, the standard that we set back in the early 70s. And it's exciting to see after 20 long years, former teammate Mike Woodson being at the helm of the Indiana basketball program. And he's doing a great job.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job. That was a big game, and that comeback. I mean, I was watching that game and just, wow, not an easy task to do. Bobby, are you also sharing the excitement so far of what Indiana has been able to do thus far?
Yeah, I'll always support them. I'm happy for Mike Woodson, the new head coach. I think he's doing a great job. But I'm happy for the players. They get to experience a coach who played there and knows about the tradition that we have set forth for them.
Yeah, that tradition and that legacy that you all started, seeing it continued on, I think speaks volumes. And while we're talking about March Madness, have you all had a chance to catch any of the other March Madness games? I know we had some big games today. We saw Duke get the win over Syracuse. Iowa, 19 3-pointers, folks, a record, and then scored the most points in Big Ten tournament history over Northwestern. Have you guys had a chance to catch some basketball?
I'm busy watching my granddaughter, and
I get it. You're busy, Kent.
the TV basketball league.
Yeah, I caught some of this. Exciting time for March Madness. It's just the beginning, but it's very exciting.
Very exciting. All right, let's talk about the beginning of your stories. I'll first start with you, Bobby. Anderson, Indiana native, played at Anderson Madison Heights High School. You did a lot there. Lots of records, lots of good games, Bobby. But let's talk about what first made you pick up that basketball.
Well, having 13 in my family, there was no room for individualism. So I wanted to be alone. So I started running, and I started enjoying basketball, and I just took it from there because there was no peace at home. So I had to find peace, and with basketball, I found peace.
It makes sense. 1 to 13. Geez, I can imagine how cramped the house was. You got to go outside, that basketball court, like your sanctuary, right, Bobby? The place that you got to do, dribble the ball, do what you wanted to do. And obviously that sanctuary paid off because you got really good at it. And then transitioning over to you, Kent, what about you? What made basketball kind of the sport that you loved and just went on to continue on and make a career of?
I started out being bigger than everybody else, bigger than the kids in my class, of course, the older kids as well. And I developed a love for the game just because of being in Indiana, and Indiana is the mecca of basketball. Yeah.
I think Indiana is the mecca of basketball. Why don't we stay there? Let's talk about, you guys obviously played lots of basketball in Indiana. But let's talk about that fan base and how much the allure of basketball there and what makes it such a special place to play. I'll start with you, Ken.
Well, the Indiana basketball Hoosier Nation is just incredible. I mean, you go into Assembly Hall and during a game and it's deafening. And Bobby and I experienced it. Of course, we're aware of that as we came out onto the court to start the game. The fans just erupt. Of course, during the game, they're just deafening. But the thing that we experienced because of Coach Knight, we developed that hearing of Coach Knight's voice that in spite of all that noise and excitement, we were able to hear Coach Knight shouting out instructions to us. Wow.
And that's huge, like you said, despite all the craziness going on, being able to follow your leader. What about you, Bobby? Just take me back to what it was like playing in that overall, just Indiana basketball atmosphere. How did you feed off of that energy from the crowd?
Oh, it was great because even in high school we had large crowds, but once I got to Indiana, it was just the Hoosier Nation is just great. I mean, we have the best fans in the world, and their knowledge of basketball. But for me, I wasn't trying to hear coach on the side, so I stayed away from that side. So I just
Smart
did my
man.
job. I wasn't trying to get screamed at. So
Yeah, look, nobody wants to get screamed at, especially from a guy like Coach Knight. We see already go Indiana basketball. Actually, my auntie, I have lots of family in Indianapolis, so I can attest to how that Indiana basketball crowd is. And I'll take some questions from the fans. We're already getting them in. Staying with Big Ten basketball, Mike Patton from Touring the AFC South wants to ask, do you all feel that the Big Ten has a team that can win it all this year? Might be some bias there, but do you guys feel that you guys have a team that can hopefully win it all this year in the Big Dance? Kent, you look like you're thinking about it.
go ahead. Well, I think the Big Ten has a team. I think there's a couple teams. Purdue is probably one of them that has a great chance. But like with basketball, any given day, anything can happen, and there are college students, and so they have different ideas, and sometimes good days and bad days. But I'm hopefully that an Indiana team will be in the finals.
Oh, yeah. At least for you all. We need that at a minimum. Yeah. At least for you all. We need that at a minimum. What about you, Ken?
I'm in agreement with Bobby. Purdue and also Iowa. I think those are two contending teams that has a good chance of winning the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, the Big Ten tournament. Again, many watching that. And again, you two can attest to what it's like playing there. Let's just talk Indiana basketball since we're already talking about it. Bobby, take me back to freshman year at Indiana and that transition from being a high caliber high school player, transitioning over to Indiana basketball. What was it like for you and kind of that learning curve as you learned the college style of play?
Oh, it was a learning curve because I sat out my first year. I sat out I was Prop 48, and I liked sitting out because I had to learn how to study. I had to learn how to go to the library. I had to learn all that. I didn't learn that in high school. I just got by. Right. So it was a great experience for me because I knew I could do it after my first year.
And you're hearing you say that now, and I'm looking at the transfer portal now, Bobby, much different. And we're seeing players transfer left and right. So just curious to throw that in there. Are you a fan now kind of the transfer portal and how it is? And, it seems like now if guys aren't getting their way, they're really quick now to just go to another school and sign up for another coach, Bobby.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't have that opportunity because once I went to IU, my mother said, "You're not coming back home." So, and, Vietnam was going on. So I wasn't about to mess up in school. I wanted to learn. I always wanted to go to Indiana University because I had a chance to see George McGinnis play while he was there. And he's probably the greatest basketball player ever played in Indiana. And that everybody in Indiana wanted to play ball at Indiana growing up. That's just the way it was.
Right. Like you said, great basketball started there. And now let's talk about you, Kent, your freshman year at Indiana. You did pretty good freshman year, right? Outstanding Player Award, Big Ten co-champion. IU won the Conference Commissioners Association tournament in St. Louis, Kent. So take me back to your freshman year at IU.
Well, it was definitely a learning experience because coming out of high school, I was named Mr. Basketball. And I had guys that I played against, but nowhere near the caliber of guys that we played against in college. And having the IU players around me really enhanced what I felt. The decision that I had made to come to Indiana was the right decision because I knew that the talents, the abilities, but more importantly, the quality of character of those individuals. And that's who I wanted to associate with.
Right, that quality of character. And I think that actually relates to a great question we're getting in from the fans. Can you explain the brotherhood of basketball players at Indiana? Let's start with you first, Bobby, on that question. Talk about the brotherhood and the bond that you all were able to form. And I think you two sitting here is actually a testament to that brotherhood that was formed at Indiana.
Yeah, me and Ken know each other for so long and played against each other. It was a good bond for us. But when I first got to Indiana, a lot of those players, it was not a bond. I'm an outsider coming in trying to take a position, and I had to take position. I had to learn the system. So It was a fight. It was a straight up fight. And over the last 3 years, at my end of our Kent's freshman year, my sophomore year, we started coming together. We was working. You have to remember, those days, there was no time limits on practice. We practiced 7 days a week. There was no time limits.
Right.
And we go to practice. And if we mess up, we'd be there for 4 hours or 5. It don't matter. There was no time limits. and we became friends because of that. I got sick of looking at everybody, but and fighting everybody every day. But as time went on, we really grew and came together. But it took a while.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Brotherhood, it's not bonded. It doesn't all of a sudden start overnight. And like you said, I mean, there's new players coming in each year. Everyone's fighting for their spot. Those people don't just relinquishly let it go and say, hey, here you go, I'm done with it. And now, Kent, let's transition over to you. Talk about the brotherhood that you were able to bond with your fellow brothers at Indiana.
Well, first and foremost was my relationship with Bobby. We started playing against each other in junior high, and a friendship developed just because of being competitors. And then, of course, we met against each other in high school, and then to be teammates at Indiana was great because when I came in, Coach Knight didn't have to holler at Bobby. He just wanted to holler at me. And so you're welcome, Bobby, by the way.
Thank you.
But, Kelsey, when you have a group of talented individuals who use their God-given talents and abilities and at the same time put aside their own personal agendas for the success of the team, that's when you win. And these guys that we had around us as a team, we bonded both on the court and off the court. And we knew that when we come to Assembly Hall or onto the basketball court, that it was business, and everyone came with their best game. And the thing that I always say is that our second team made us the first team even better. I mean, they were more difficult to play against than the teams that we faced during the season. Wouldn't you say, Bobby?
Yeah, our practices were harder than some of our games.
That's a testament to how good you all were. And now everything makes sense, right? When we saw what you were able to go on and do. And as we talk about the brotherhood too, I know a lot is said about Coach Knight and his style, but also, I think the assistant coaches and the other kind of supporting cast also kind of never get their fair shine or light, you can say. So can we also talk about how that brotherhood extended into kind of the coaching ranks and what they were able to do to help you all bond and become such a strong and solid team?
Well, my freshman year, Bobby's sophomore year, Mike Krzyzewski, the head coach at Duke, was a graduate assistant at IU. Mike played for Coach Knight at Army, and of course, Mike was a different coach then because he was a graduate assistant and of course to Coach Knight. But he was also very helpful to the players in developing those relationships as. The assistant coaches are responsible for that and help us through the season.
Yeah. And look at Coach K now, from graduate assistant back then to now we're sending him off, even though we wish he would have got that last win at Cameron, but a big win by Duke today. And Bobby, what about you and just how, your brotherhood kind of extended to your personal relationships with your coaches?
Well, I really love the assistant coaches because they couldn't really holler at us.
Always nice.
Coach Knight was hollering at them. So, it was a great relationship because they worked with us and we could talk to them after practice or when we have an issue or we want to work on a drill after practice, and they would be there for us and talk us through it. And we needed that because he was screaming enough. So we just depended on them, and they would always lead us to what we're doing wrong. This is what coach wants. And that made a big difference. That really made a big difference.
Yeah. And I think, again, like you said, I mean, when he's hollering at them, they're also still trying to help make sure that you guys get the fundamental and skills that you needed. And while we continue to talk Indiana basketball, I do want to take a quick pause since we did mention Coach K to just reflect on Coach K's legacy really quickly at Duke. We know he's hanging it up after such a tremendous collegiate career at Duke. And so if you guys could say any words to just Coach K in this last, let's say, bon voyage, right, for Duke basketball, we'll see how far they get this year. But, what would you say, Ken, if you could say something to Coach K right now?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations on a tremendous career. He knows the game. He's great at it. He's proved it time and time again, over 1,100 wins. And, the neat thing about Coach K was the relationship that we developed with him when he was at IU as a graduate assistant. So to see him grow and develop and have the great success that he had, so proud and blessed to know Mike Krzyzewski and wish him continued success, and God bless him and his family.
Yeah. And Bobby, I'll also allow you the space if you would like to say anything to Coach K as he hangs it all up after just a tremendous coaching career at Duke.
Well, Coach K, I would like to just say you did a great job. I really love the fact that your kids that you had planned for you. You really affected the families. I know they loved you, and you made it a family affair. And you have so many great players up under you, and it was you who took the lead to teach and lead these young men to be great young men. And I'm
Yeah.
just proud of you, and I bless your family.
Well said. I hope Coach K hears this. He needs to hear how his former players feel about him. And I know it's something that he'll keep near and dear to his heart. And before we go back to Indiana basketball, I'll take another question that we have from our listening audience. This one from Sherry Dozier. She wants to ask, what are your thoughts on amateur athletes' ability to secure NIL deals? So name, image, and likeness deals and the impact of NIL on collegiate sports. And so I know we're going to talk about this on the show. But why don't we get into that now? So now we know name, image, and likeness has since passed. College athletes are now able to get paid off of that. So, Bobby, have you been a fan of this kind of new thing that college athletes are getting a chance to participate in and a chance to make money now while still in school?
Yes, I'm a big fan because at first they need to pay us because it's been 46 years and they used our name, likeness, and everything. So I think kids should get paid. For 50 years, these colleges made billions of dollars. Coaches made millions. It makes no sense. And then we can't even, as a player, you can't get a ride with the coach. They can't buy you a suit. They can't buy you dinner. It was just crazy. And most of the kids come from poor families.
Right.
So, yeah, it's not fair. And it's time to equalize that.
Yeah. And Ken, I'll allow you to also comment on that question.
I couldn't have said it any better. And I'm in total agreement with what Bobby had to say right there. Absolutely.
Yeah. And let's dive into that, Bobby, more, because I think for people that aren't student athletes, like you said, they couldn't even do small things like buy you a snack or something small. And so let's just talk about that aspect when you all were at Indiana, coming from the background that you came from. I think a lot of people paint it as like, it's so glorious, right, for student athletes. And obviously now much different now that they have the NIL. But take me back when you all were at Indiana, what it was like for you to not have that name, image, and likeness there, not be able to benefit off of making money off of your name. And as you mentioned, still to this day, not even being able to bring in those dollars that you'd like to bring in off of what the university is profiting off of.
Well, it was painful, because I come from a family of 13 and I was a poor student. I probably was a poor student at the university at that time. But to not be able to get a meal, you have to make sure you make your meals at the dorm. It just wasn't fair. Walking, you didn't have a car. So walking everywhere and the coaches ride by and be like, hey, how you doing? See you when you get there. But
wow.
And then you have no clothing. It was just sad. We get hungry at night and you have no money to do anything. But the coaches can get paid and they're eating good. I don't think it's been fair to the young people. I think it's time for a change because this has went on too long. And it's time for somebody to step up. And that's why we're here. Because every young person to go to college, he's away from home. He's away from family. That first year is tough. And then you got a coach that's screaming, hollering at you, and you want to quit, but you can't quit. So it's such a difficult time for freshmen, no matter what school they're in, what university. But it's very difficult.
Yeah. Like you said, you're removed from home, right? You don't have your family right there to lean on.
Yeah.
You're not able to get money. And you guys are big guys. Y'all aren't the smallest people in the world. You get hungry, right, at night, and you're not able to do anything. That's tough. And I think a lot of times the student athlete life is kind of glamorized more than what it is. You guys have lived that life. And so Ken, I'll also allow you to chime in on this, on just your thoughts on, take me back to that, playing at Indiana, not being able to make money off your name, even though you guys were great collegiate basketball players, but seeing your coaches benefit, and we're still seeing these huge coaching contracts till this day.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And, when we were in school, we didn't have social media. We didn't have cell phones. We were lucky to be able to use a phone in our room. And of course, that was always long distance. So again, to Bobby's point, we couldn't afford to call our families and as much as you can today with all the things, the technology and all that is out there. So, it's about time that things have changed, like Bobby has said, and that's why we're on here.
Yeah. And I know you guys have been calling for this to change for a while now, right? And you guys have been saying, come on, it's more than time. And so now, again, that I have you in the spotlight, and this is what we do on the show. We bring light to problems and issues and challenges that need that attention. So, if you guys could just have a message right now for the NCAA, for Indiana University, what would it be?
Well, for me, the message would be, get it right. Just get it right. Because when you sign a scholarship for Indiana University, Indy College, 4 years, renewable every year. It didn't say for a lifetime. They have no rights for a lifetime for a player. And so
Right.
that makes no sense. But the coaches get millions and millions of dollars, and they get sponsors, they get all that. But the players, we're the ones who suffer. And for us, it's been such a long time to see the university make billions and billions of dollars on our names.
Right.
It makes no sense, and they can't say, I never signed a lifetime contract with them, and I can't use their name for a lifetime. So,
Right.
It makes it's just not fair. And this, the NCAA saying they make all these dumb rules and it affects the players. It don't affect the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
It affects, and who benefits? The university. So
Right.
it's just not fair. And it's time for change. I think every athlete, every student in America should stand up because it affected so many. We ain't talking about the ones they kicked off the team and messed up their family and their parents. They didn't have the money to send them back to school.
Wow.
So it's devastating.
Yeah, it's tough, like you said. And I think, now we're saying, I think people have been calling for this for a long time, but like you said, these colleges and universities, folks, are making millions. The athletics department at so many of these, especially D1 schools, they're driving so much of the money and income. If you're watching the news, you see these coaches are making millions of dollars, but yet athletes like Kent and Bobby leaving their blood, sweat, and tears on the ground, sacrificing for their universities, away from home, trying to get wins for the university to be able to boost up that championship trophy. And so, Kent, same question for you. If you could send a message now to Indiana, to the NCAA, as someone who was a collegiate athlete, a top collegiate athlete at that, what would your message be?
Well, to Bobby's point and to your point, we as the undefeated national championship team, the last undefeated national championship team 46 years ago, the university has made, millions and millions of dollars off our names, our images, and our likenesses, because when March Madness comes around, who do they talk about? Who do they They talk about the 1975-76 Indiana University undefeated national championship team. And so, when we've reached out and inquired to the university, a great starting point would be a response from IU, first and foremost, and then we can talk about what it is we want and need.
Yeah, and just to make sure everyone has the background of it, you're saying that you all have actually reached out to Indiana, right? To just say, hey, look, we're still here. You guys are benefiting off the name, image, and likeness, but you're looking at your pockets and not saying anything in your own pockets. And so you're saying so far you have yet to receive any type of response, right?
Right.
Wow. And not even acknowledging, again, 2 star players, folks, that played for the university, helping to bring a championship to the university. And to Kent's point, once again, a record that right now is still unbeaten. And Kent and Bobby, I'm just curious, do you think we'll ever see that broken, seeing a team go undefeated and go on to win the championship? Let's say it's been 46 years. Do you think that happens in another 46 years?
Kelsey, I'm sorry. Records are made to be broken. Okay, records are made to be broken, and I would say if that record is ever broken and a team goes undefeated, we as the 75-76 undefeated national championship team would be the first to congratulate those teams, that team, for their success, because we knew what it takes to accomplish that. And but again, records are made to be broken. If that happens, it'd be a long time coming. And then for them to break 46 years consecutively, that would be another record that would be most difficult to reach.
Yeah. It's one that's withstood so far the test of time. Like you said, yes, records are made to be broken, but that is a very hard one. I'm sure many teams try to, but we look at the college basketball season and how good these squads are. It's, again, very hard to do. And going back to what you all have done, again, reaching out to Indiana, and you're seeing all these stories being made about that undefeated team and that championship team and documentaries made. And yet, I just want to make sure people are understanding this. Not a dollar from any of that has went into your pockets, right?
Right. Right.
And so when you all are watching all this being made and your story being told and nothing coming back to you, Bobby, I just want to dive into deeper. How does that make you feel?
Well, it pissed me off. I'm just going to be honest, because the documentary, they never contacted me.
Right.
I never signed anything, but yet they still did their story and put me in there and used my photos, my images. IU is part of that problem. And so, yeah, I'm pissed because they're making money, the university making money, Showtime's making money, and they're using it on us. And then they put me in there and say, okay, he's part of this. I never signed a contract with Showtime.
Right.
I'm never trying to. My teammates might have, but
I,
they were that's not Kent, but the rest of them they signed, and they made money, whatever that is. But for them not to even the arrogance of Indiana University, the arrogance of Showtime, and the arrogance of Quinn Buckner, my teammate who was chairman of the board for the university, is pathetic. The whole thing is pathetic, and I'm still pissed off because it makes no sense and they're not fair. And we ain't begging. We know how to slay a giant. That's for sure. Because we went to IU. We're from Indiana. We grew up in Indiana.
Right. That's the hometown.
And that disrespect that they're giving us, no, I gather the whole nation together. If I got to walk and get everybody one by one, because this has got to change. It's time. This is not going any further than this year.
Yeah. And Ken, I want you to just talk about this. I mean, I know you guys obviously have emotions. This is why we're here on this show talking about this. And I want this to be a platform where you can express that, because I want to make sure that everybody listening to this show now understands what's exactly happening. So documentaries made, dollars going into everybody else's pocket, but not your own. And as Bobby mentioned, even some of your teammates making money, but Kent and Bobby right here have not received $1, folks, $1 from their own story being told. So Ken, I mean, just all the frustration, I'm sure, over the years has just probably gotten to a boiling point.
Well, I'm in total agreement with Bobby. And let me take it to another level. Bobby and I, several years ago, formed the 32-0 undefeated national champions foundation. And our whole idea was to raise money and revenues to give to charitable organizations. Okay. We put together literally hundreds of different items and memorabilia of our team. Okay. The successful team that we had. And we presented it to Indiana University, to the licensing, saying that in order for us to be able to put that online in our shop for people to purchase those items, we had to pay a licensing fee, not for the bulk, but for every item that we were going to put on the online shop. That's ridiculous. I mean, they wanted us to pay for our own names, images, and likenesses, and that's absurd.
Wow. And just think about that, folks. Their own, Ken said it, their own name, image, and likeness. Mm-hmm. They would have to pay for it. What was your reaction, Kim, when that first happened and they told you that? Like in the immediate response? Do you remember?
Yeah, I wasn't happy and I was totally surprised. And I think Bobby remembers, we just looked at each other in disbelief and we got up from the table and walked away.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't anything we could say. It was just, we were shocked, number one, because what we were doing was for charitable causes, and we were promoting our own team and our images and our likenesses, and through the memorabilia that we had accumulated and wanted to sell online. And I still, to this day, and it's been several years that we formed that foundation. It still amazes me that actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, doing it for charity, and yet again, it's your name, image, and likeness. And I think this is what people kind of have to learn as we're continuing to have these conversations about the NIL. And again, these are two folks of the best players to come out of Indiana. I know in our preliminary conversation, Bobby, I mean, we even talked about, when you took that elbow to the head, laid unconscious on the floor for 7 minutes. This is something that you did for your university. And yet they turn around and tell you now that you have to get permission to make money for your name, image, and likeness. And so, when you look back at all that you did for that Indiana University program, and especially for the young folks out there, Bobby, who are just, being born and obviously didn't get to see you and Kemp play. Like, let's just talk about the legacy that you left there and why it's so important for them to not only pay you all, but to just to recognize what you all have contributed to their overall legacy.
Well, first of all, they have no respect for the players. And I'll give you an example. When I got knocked out in the championship game, nobody was there with me. I was in the hospital 3 days. Team left, went back. Coach Knight left. Nobody called my mom. Luckily, my brother was at the game. He was able to call home, but they left and flew back. When I finally got out the hospital, I just went to Anderson. I didn't feel like I was part of a championship.
Wow.
The disrespect of the whole university. No one, not the president, not the athletic director, no one called my parents. They didn't come see about me. I'm up there by myself. And so, yeah, they talk about this is a family, this is a team. They don't care about that. They ain't no family. They ain't no family of mine.
Wow.
My mother was hurt till she died. She was hurt. No one called her son laying on the floor.
And not one phone call home, and you went back to Anderson, where you're from. And like, again, I went back to that brotherhood question. So you're thinking you have this brotherhood, right? That everyone has each other's back. You get unconscious folks in a basketball game having to go to the hospital. And I think about how scary it is now when we see a player come down and not to at least even get a phone call. I know that has to hurt. I'm sure till this day it probably hurts, Bobby.
And it's been hurting for years. And the fact that the coach, he wanted what he wanted. He made after that. And then they had the nerve after 1976, make all this money, billions and billions, and talk about, I don't need a dinner. I don't need a job. I need compensation.
Right.
That's what I need, because if I get hurt and I'm on a championship team and they left me in the hospital for 3 days, what do you think they're going to do to these kids now? Oh, they're going to pay them. Is that going to be equal? No. It's not going to be equal. Or you're a starter, you're a bench warmer, you didn't play last game. That they need to pay them, but make it even.
Right.
And if the stars get hurt and they disrespecting us, what are these kids? They don't have a chance.
At all.
They don't have a chance. And they're not putting in their contract, it's for a lifetime, because it's not in ours.
Right.
How are they going to do that? Because now some of these kids probably go to the NBA and have great careers or have great college careers. Not all of them.
Right. Right. Because it's hard to get to that next level, right? I mean, getting to the NBA, obviously, you all know, and then having longevity, in the NBA, obviously, is not easy. And as we talk about compensation, Ken, I'm curious, when you're sending these letters to IU and we're talking about compensation, have you talked about a dollar amount at all? Or are you just saying, like, we just want to get paid, and you're going to let them, in their minds, figure out what the proper compensation should be?
Well, first and foremost, I already stated, a great start would be IU responding to our inquiries. That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about and discuss what it is what we want. Let me just share with you this. In 1976, during the season, the start of the Big Ten season at Illinois, I go up for a layup and one of the Illinois players undercut me, and I fall all my weight on my left wrist. I absolutely destroyed my whole left wrist, broken bones, torn ligaments, and what have you. I chose to play, not miss a game. I may have missed a couple of practice right at the beginning, but I practiced, I played all the way through the championship with basically one hand. Over the years, after playing in the NBA, coming home, I started developing problems with my left hand, my left hand and wrist. And I reached out to Indiana University. At the time, I didn't have insurance. And I reached out to the athletic director and asked him for some assistance in getting my wrist looked at, taken care of. And he just said, "I'm sorry, we don't do those things."
Wow.
And Here I injured it during the season,
right?
And continue to play so we could, because I knew that we could win the national championship, and it was important that I be a part of that team.
And I think that's why I wanted to go back to these points, because I think people don't, again, realize the sacrifice the student athletes make, because it's all for the team, right? The whole time your coaches are telling you it's for the team, it's for the betterment of the university, and you're part of that puzzle. And so you're giving it your all, mentally, physically, spiritually. And yet, when something happens to you and you ask something simple that you think it would be point blank, period, yes, we'll come back and help you, they don't. And that has to hurt when you're part of a university that you gave so much to. So as people on this show are listening to this show, what's the thing that you want for them to take and resonate from? How can they help your guys' cause to make sure that you get the proper compensation for all of your stories being told? How can the listening audience help with that? And I'll start with you, Bobby.
Well, I think I want them just to understand what we have been going through.
Yeah.
We have a management company, Melvin Forbes from Forbes Consulting in Maryland, and we have also attorney Zenobia Waters from Atlanta, Georgia. So I want them to understand that we're part of. They have kids. Everybody
Right.
they have kids in elementary or middle school who might be getting college letters. And understand you have to look out for your sons or your daughters, because this is real. Don't think they love you. Don't think that they're going to use you up. And so be aware of that. Try to make the right decision. Ask the right questions. Because even when I got injured in '76, my eye's still messed up now. I have so many surgeries.
Wow.
And blind in one of in my left eye. So this is not no joke. We're not sitting here, like we're just trying to get some money. No, we got a compensation. We want compensation, but we have a management team to deal with that. And it will not be a little. We're not coming here asking for peanuts, and we're not begging.
Yeah, you don't want chump change. You
Nope.
want the proper money that you're due. Again, folks, what this team did, if you don't know your history, look it up. They're everywhere, especially right now with March Madness going on. And they're literally asking for what they have been deserved, but even more today now than ever, definitely deserve. And so, Kent, your message to listening audience, and we have a question coming in from somebody, what are the right questions? What do you want for them to take home today to help your cause, to help their sons and daughters? A lot of people listening to the show have sons and daughters playing sports. How can we protect not just college athletes today, but student athletes that are coming up into the college ranks? And then, of course, make sure that you all get your proper due.
Well, I have to agree with Bobby and echo what he's had to say. But also, college sports is a business.
Right.
And if you don't perform, you're not part of the team, or you don't participate. And but if you are a performer and accomplish things for the universities, you're going to get playing time. You're going to get recognition. But that recognition needs to be spread across the team and not just to the individuals, because it's a team game. And parents need to understand that, AAU and all this, it's important that the kids experience those things, but it's not all about winning. It's about learning the game, learning how to play together as a team, about sportsmanship, about what I talked about earlier, quality of character. That's so vitally important in sports today. And, I'm going to call out Juwan Howard, just the way he responded in after a couple of games. That's totally uncalled for. And he's a leader. All right. And kids see that, and, there's just no room for that kind of thing going on. But from our standpoint, what we've accomplished and the things that's happened over the last almost 50 years, we've not been compensated for yet. They've used our name, our images, and our likenesses. And our management team, Forbes Consulting and Associates, Mel Forbes, and Zenobia Waters are going to handle those issues.
And I'm glad you guys have the right representation to make sure it's handled. And just for those out there who might be looking at this show saying, why now? And obviously you guys have been doing this for a while, fighting this fight, but why now more than ever would you say is the time right for your management team and the university, hopefully, to now pay up and show you guys the recognition that you deserve for all that you contributed? Why would you say right now, right this moment? I'll start with you, Bobby.
Well, I think right now, because it's been 46 years and it ain't like they're going to contact us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's number one. And plus, we didn't have social media 20 years ago or 46 years ago. We didn't have a platform. Kelsey, we thank you for this opportunity. We didn't have this platform to talk to around the world and talk to
Right.
the nation about an issue, and without someone cutting it out and cutting certain parts out.
And
So
editing,
yeah. And so this is really great because we get to express coming from us. It's not secondhand. We're not saying what Coach Knight said, or they won't even talk to us. And that's fine because we're going to talk to them.
Yeah.
And we want the people to know that we're going to rally every athlete around the world. We have to. This is just beginning because this is serious. Because
Right.
when kids get hurt or players get hurt, they hurt their families. They touching lives in their church. They're touching this kid's church, this community. Everybody's affected. The love that people have for their sons and daughters, it affects the whole family.
Yeah.
And they're taking it as a business as usual. No, this ain't personal. This is strictly business, what we're doing.
Right.
And if we can make it better for the rest of them, everyone else that come behind us, 46 years if they break the record, I guess the university thought we'd be dead and gone by now, but God said no. We're here.
Still here, kicking and fighting. And that was going to be a question for you, Bobby, I had, because, God forbid something happened to either one of you. I know your families are also right in this fight and will continue this fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that's just not going to go away. The university can't just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, right?
Nope.
I mean, you have a whole team of people, right, that will continue this.
Kelsey, it's more than just family. It's family, it's friends, it's fans, it's the Hoosier Nation. People who are basketball fans, not just Indiana basketball fans.
Yeah.
It's people, like Bobby said, athletes, not just basketball players, but college athletes. So there's a whole plethora of people that are tuned into what we're talking about here and understand what's going on because it's finally being brought to light.
Right. It's finally being brought to light. I want to go to a question that we have from the audience from Chenier Fontino, and apologies if I messed up your name. But at this point in time, does Quinn Buckner have a duty to fulfill now that he is on the board of directors? I know you all touched on this, but I want to make sure we get a clear answer that we're getting from our listening audience. And I'll let either one of you answer this question.
Okay. I think he has a duty he should perform. He should call us back because he knows the truth. See,
right.
we're standing on the truth. We stand because they're saying nothing tells us where they're at, but we're standing on truth and we're going to continue because the truth will set them free. But for them, it's about the love of money, and that's not about the love of money for us. They affected our lives, and our family lives, and our friends' lives, and Hoosier Nation life. We're from Indiana, beloved in Indiana, great families. We're not perfect. But we touch a lot of lives ourselves with the camps and the kids and the speaking engagements all over the state and all over the country, representing Indiana University, our school, representing the state of Indiana where we're from, and having the character and integrity that people invite us back. People want to hear our story. How did you do that? Can you talk to my son? Can you talk to my daughter? Don't matter. It ain't about race. It ain't about religion. It's about human race. That's what it's about. And we want to touch the lives of all those parents. I don't care what religion you are, what gender you are, you're still special. You're important. All God's children are special.
Yeah. And I completely agree with you, Bobby. Very well said. And, to that specialness, everybody also wants what they deserve. And that's all you guys are asking for, what you deserve. You're not asking for more than that. It's what you all worked for. I'll go to another question we have from our audience. This one's from Starla N. If they honored you now, would you accept the recognition over compensation?
No.
The recognition, we've had the recognition.
It's time to pay up now. You guys we had to be
heroes. No recognition.
Yeah, it's not about recognition. It's about responding to our inquiries. And what we're asking for is them to come forward and answer our response or our inquiry so we can then talk more about the compensations down the road.
Yep. And that's, again, where Kent said it best, where it starts is at least a response. And to me, I do think it's disrespectful to at least not even give a response back. And I think not just in this situation, but anytime you email somebody, I think the least anybody wants is a response, but especially you all, because you guys have a personal connection to what's happening. And so, again, I think it's So unfortunate, but I love that we're going to continue this fight. We're going to keep on going. And I do want to, with our last 10 minutes, of course, continue to talk about what you all did at Indiana and college basketball. But Bobby, just any last point on this aspect of the compensation point that you just want to hit home for people listening and tuning into the show live today?
Well, I want them to realize that me and Kent grew up together, and the fact that we're still best friends, 40, 50 years later.
Yeah.
That's how sports can connect you. And I think it's important that all the young people, find something that you like and you enjoy, because your heart will be in it. And you could change lives. Kids can touch other people's lives. Kids touches families. They touch the barbershop. They touch, the church. They touch so many lives because they're trying to do something right. They're on their way to greatness. And so we need to promote that. We need to meet them where they're at. Everybody's not shooting and killing and doing drugs. There's so many other kids that are getting their education, helping, working part-time jobs, helping their families. These are tough times for our young people. Yeah. And we need to be on the straight path as a university, as individuals, including, athletes and myself and everyone else. We got to meet these kids where they're at. Whatever needs they have, we got to get down to their level, because it's not fair to them. They didn't ask to be in this situation.
Right.
We got to help. We're the adults. We got to, and this is across race lines. This is, kids are kids. Yeah. And we got to stop looking at race and all that. And we got to sit down and say, hey, we got to help these kids. We got to help these young people. We got to help these young ladies. If there's an issue, we have to address it. Right. Bring it to the show. Call Kelsey. We got to get this thing.
I'm waiting for it.
We got to call Kelsey, #1 reporter in the world. Call Kelsey, and we'll get it going, because it's time. We're at the end of age. There might not be a tomorrow.
Right.
And we got to make sure these kids are spiritually grounded, physically grounded, emotionally grounded, because we're talking about their eternity. We got to make sure we help them.
Right. Right. Like you said, it's leaving a better tomorrow for our future. And I think that's what it is. I think, honestly, the three of us on this screen represent what can happen when we put aside our differences and come together for a common cause and a common good, different genders, different ethnicities, races. But here we are on this screen talking about an issue, bringing attention to an issue. And as you all are seeing from all the comments, people are learning about this issue. And I'm getting questions about, well, how can I protect my son and daughter, that's in college right now with the NIL. And so this is why I thank you all for bringing this issue to the show. This is why we do it live, Bobby, to your point. No one's going to edit this or cut it out. We're live. All right, folks. So because everything you're seeing, we're in live time. This is all of us here talking about this issue. And Ken, again, same question for you. Anything that you want to just hammer home for the listening audience on this issue?
Well, I think that there's so much entitlement mentality of our young people, and it's been passed on from their parents and what have you. And to Bobby's point, in the New Testament, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 6 through 16, it talks about being a good Christian example, or a good example. And it's an awesome responsibility that we all have as adults, as athletes, as reporters, as businessmen, doctors. It doesn't matter. We have an awesome responsibility, because kids are going to watch how we walk, how we talk, what we do with our lives.
We're the leaders.
And that's a responsibility. And so, we're to train up the child in the way that they should go. And, that's what Bobby's point is all about, and is training these children up to be the type of people that they can go ahead and move forward with their lives and accomplish great things using their God-given talents, abilities, and opportunities to bring glory and honor to God.
Well said. And again, just two of the most kind-hearted guys. Work hard, everything they have in their lives, they've worked for, and that's all they're asking for, folks. All right. But still, you're doing good unto others and making sure that our babies, our kids are well prepared to be whatever they want to be in life. And as we talk about the future, I do want to go to this question that we're getting for parents. And they ask, as a parent, what resources can they use to make sure that their sons or daughters' NIL is beneficial? Just want to put that out there for you all, just from what you all have experienced. Is there anything that you all could give, any advice to parents of college athletes, of student athletes right now, to make sure that their son or daughter is properly benefiting from the NIL opportunities in front of them?
Yeah, I think the most thing they can benefit by is when they get letters of intent for sending your kids to school, get a copy, make a copy, have them give you a copy, overlook it before you sign in. Don't sign anything. Get you a lawyer, get you somebody to look at that, because I guarantee you now they're going to start putting small print in there.
Yeah, that fine print
After
you have
they
to really look at, right?
Thank you, Kelsey. They're going to start putting small print now because you've exposed a lot of them. And I think that's really important for the family, because, and then sit with the coaches or whoever that may be, because coaches lie. They get you down there and they lie. Oh, you're going to be great. You're going to be a starter. And they hurt our kids, boys, girls, they hurt them because then they mistreat them. Then they find a reason to get rid of them. So coaches lie, and then the coaches lie, athletic department stand behind the lie. President, chairman of the board, they all stand behind this lie because they're the giant in the room.
Right.
But it's not still, but giants get slayed. So find someone to, call me, call Kent, we'll come. But we want to make sure that they got to have someone that will look at this paperwork and make sure there's no fine print. They should have a community just come together, whether it's the church, at the rec center, and say, okay, this is contract day, letter of intent, and they all get together and go through it line by line. But you have to talk to the coaches, because they tell you one thing and they get you down there. And all we got to do is, Kelsey, have a show with all those who've been kicked out of college from sports. And I guarantee you won't have room enough to pack them.
Wow. Yeah. And that's the other side of sports that people don't talk about. Like you said, I mean, coaches are going to say whatever they need to say to get you in there, right? That's recruiting. They got to say what sounds good. They're not going to tell you, you're going to come to my university and for 46 years, we're not going to pay you for your name and likeness, right? That's not how it works, folks. So, Kent, same thing. Any advice you could give to parents out there right now with the college student athletes that are looking at NIL deals and trying to help their kids make some money, but not wanting them to make the wrong choice?
Well, again, to Bobby's point, secure a lawyer to look over the paperwork and look at the legalese, and don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Make sure you have some representation with you when you're asking those questions. So it's not just you and the coach and your child, but have someone there that can back up what's being said and repeat it back so they're held accountable to what's being said.
So they're held accountable. And that's what it is. Accountability. That's what we're talking about a lot on this show. And so I'm going to ask you guys a harder one. Knowing what you all know now about Indiana, them not paying you for your name, image, and likeness. If you could do it all again, we're going back to Indiana. You're in high school. You're looking at different colleges to go to. Would you still go back to Indiana and play basketball?
I would because of the players that were there when I was the only freshman to come in that year, because of Bobby Wilkerson, because of the team, Scott May, Quinn Buckner, Tom Abernathy, Jimmy Cruz, Steve Green, John Laskowski, Steve Allfeld. I mean, I could go right down the line. All these guys represented a quality of character, and they were talented to the point that I wanted to be a part of that. I felt that I was an integral part, a piece of the puzzle that could win a national championship.
Well said. Same question for you, Bobby. If you could do it all over again, knowing what you know now, would you still be at IU?
Yeah, I still would be at IU for two reasons. One, because of my family. They get to see all the games.
Yeah.
And two, because of Coach Knight. Coach Knight taught me a lot, and it was hard. He was a hard teacher, but I needed to learn. I needed to learn discipline. I needed to learn discipline in my game. I needed him to teach me that there's more than one way, that I need you to do this. And then when I come out of high school, I was a scorer, rebounder, doing everything. I had to figure out, he helped me with the discipline of Scott Mays. He was a great shooter. I got to get Scott the ball. I can't in the low. I got to get him the ball. So I sacrificed my game to make sure that my teammates, because if they win, we all win. If I can get involved, and I just figured it because the more time I'm on the court, then they'll see me too. So I wasn't worried about that. But if I can help Kent, I can help Quinn, I can help Abernathy, I can play every position. And so I was getting a lot of playing time. So I was tired after every game. But it made a difference because I knew what I had to do, and I could always have their back at every position. I wasn't worried about the publicity. Coach Knight didn't do a lot of praising for me then, but I knew what I was doing, and I was okay. I was a hard hat guy. I just went to work and went about my business.
Yeah.
Bobby was the most versatile player that Coach Knight's ever had. I mean, he could play all 5 positions and played them very well. And I just am so thankful that I was able to play with him at Indiana University, and our friendship has been maintained for 50 years. I just thank God for that opportunity and for being able to play basketball at Indiana University, win a national championship, and to accomplish some of my dreams and goals of playing professional basketball.
Just hearing you all again, the love for Indiana, runs deep. This is why we just want the right thing to happen for you both. So again, thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for everyone for tuning in and bringing your questions and insight. I hope it's been insightful for you all. Before I let you all go, we're getting a lot of basketball questions. I hope you guys don't mind if we turn the page a little bit and talk a little bit about basketball. Since it is March, March Madness, I'm going to go to another question that we have from the fans. This one is from Jamel Cutler. He asked, did you guys recruit Isaiah Thomas to Indiana?
Yeah, we recruited him.
Bobby's like, come on.
Because one of his teammates were Ray Talbot from Anderson, this high school I went to. So, yeah, we recruited him because Isaiah was a great player. We talked to him. We were gone then. We were in the NBA. But my teammate, my friend from Anderson, Indiana, Ray Talbot, was part of that championship team in 81 when they won. Him and Isaiah was on the same team. So, Isaiah family.
Yeah. Making sure that Indiana basketball remained great. And Kent, I'll give one to you. He asked, Chris Pompey asked, what was it like, Kent, playing for Bobby Knight? And then later on with Isaiah Thomas.
Well, Coach Knight is probably one of the best at his philosophy of coaching. And nobody did it better back then. And if I had to do all over again, knowing what I know now and experience what I experienced with Coach Knight, he was very bombastic, he didn't demand perfection. He demanded excellence. Excellence being the very best that you can be in everything that you do in every way that you do it, no matter what it is. And he knew every player's potential and he would do whatever he had to do to get you to play to your potential. And along Bobby's lines, he did whatever he had to do to get me to play to my potential. And I learned from that and realized that playing for Coach Knight prepared me for life after basketball because of the obstacles that he would put in front of you, the challenges, the situations during practice, during games. He prepared me for life after basketball. And then being able to I played with Isaiah Thomas when I was with the Detroit Pistons. He was our first round draft pick. And of course, Isaiah is a great player and had a great career in the NBA, as well as winning the national championship in 1981.
Yeah, very well said. And I'm happy you guys touched on Bobby Knight, because I think for outside looking in, people saw the antics and stuff, and maybe not everyone agreed, but for you all got to actually be there and see that he did demand excellence, and excellence is what you all went on to achieve. I hope you guys don't mind a couple more basketball questions. You guys have a lot of fans, so I hope you guys see the love is still resonating. Indiana Hoosiers Nation is here strong. We're getting another question. How was the Larry Bird experience?
Well, we were seniors. I think, Kent, you were a junior when he came to visit.
Sophomore.
And sophomore. Okay, when he came to visit, and it didn't go too well. I mean, as an All-American, he was in high school, and he come down to visit, and he was all excited. And I talked to him once on the visit, and he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna do this and that." So, Larry, you come here, you ain't playing. You won't be playing this year. That was our senior year. I said, "Well, you might play after we're gone, but you won't be playing this year." And I don't know if that made his decision to go to Indiana State or not, but it would have been hard. We were already that year before. We already lost one game. We were on our way, and
right.
Scott got hurt. So, but Larry ended up he's still a great player, but Indiana at that time would not have been good for him. Now, after we left, he could have did a great job.
Then he could have came along.
Yeah, he could have came on, did a great job. He could play with Kent after that, and they could took another title or something, you know.
Thank you for touching on that one, Bobby. I'll just do a couple more, folks. Keep bringing your questions and comments again. I thank Kent Benson and Bobby Wilkerson so much for joining me here live on the show. We've got this one is for you, Ken. Did you ever clear the air with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar following what happened during your NBA debut?
Absolutely. The very next game, or the very first time that we met again at the LA Forum, why I extended my hand at the jump ball. Of course, he denied it, would not shake my hand. We played the game, played a great game. At the end of the game, as I was walking out to the locker room, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was Kareem. He shook my hand and said, "Good game." We met back in 2013 when our team was named the greatest team in NCAA history at the Final Four. Bobby, you may remember this, up in the NCAA suite. Kareem, as I walked in, Kareem was there. Our eyes met. He stood up. I walked directly towards him, shook hands. We talked, and I even got pictures together. He was kind enough to sign some autographed pictures for my grandchildren, and also sent a book to each one of my grandchildren that he had written. And so, as far as that's concerned, you know, the people that bring it up are the press and the media, and people who happen to look on YouTube and see only part of the incident. They only see where I elbowed him back. They don't see the many times that Kareem had elbowed me previous to that, and him sucker punching me.
Yeah. Well, look, this is what we do on the show. We clear the air, Clint. Thank you so much for answering that. We'll do one more question about basketball. Chris wants to know, what was it like playing your Pistons home games at the huge Pontiac Silverdome, and what was your most memorable game there?
Wow. The Pontiac Silverdome was incredible. When you opened the door to walk in, it was like just a rush of air just pushed you on into the to the Silverdome. While we were in there playing, they had backstops to make it look more like a basketball court. Of course, early in my career there at the Pistons, there wasn't very many fans, and it looked empty. One of the best memories that I think I have with the Pistons was when the Silverdome collapsed because of snow, and we ended up going down to Cobo Hall and Joe Louis Arena and got to play in those historic sites.
Very well said, and a great memory to bring up. Bobby and Ken, I so appreciate your time here on Listening with KNN. It's been an honor and pleasure. And no, this does not stop here. We're going to continue to follow us, folks. Make sure, again, you continue to follow what Bobby and Ken are doing. Sign on, folks. We hear what they're doing. Pressure Indiana, pressure the NCAA to make sure that these guys, again, just get their fair share of compensation for their story. I can't say that enough. It's their story. They helped to write that story that Indiana had. And as you're watching March Madness, remember the team that kind of started that legacy, folks. Undefeated, national championship. Not easy to do. All right. So Ken and Bobby, thank you again so much for joining me here. I should say go Indiana, but I went to Maryland, so I'm not allowed to say that, but I hope Indiana is well for you all. Okay. And I so appreciate your time. Any last words, folks, for the audience? Ken or Bobby, I'll let you all before I let you go.
Well, I'd just like to say, Kelsey, thank you so much for your time and a wonderful show that you have here. And your audience, may the good Lord bless and keep you all. God bless your families.
Thank you so much, Ken. Bobby?
Again, I would like to say, Kelsey, thank you so much. This is so important, not only for us, but to the whole country and all sports world. And ask God to bless you and your family and bless America.
Thank you so much. All right, Kent Benson and Bobby Wilkerson, thank you so much again for joining me. We won't be strangers. And again, if you guys want to recap the show, don't worry. It's posted everywhere. And we'll also have a recap article coming out to it. All right, folks. So it does not end here. All right, I'm going to let Bobby and Kent go enjoy some March Madness basketball and their families. I've already taken an hour of their time. So have a great night, fellas.
Thank you.
All right, you too.
God bless.
Thank you.
God bless you.
All right. Thank you again so much, everyone, for tuning in. What a fun episode, but an episode where we got to expose some of the injustices happening right now on college sports. And that's something and a reason why I started this show. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Could not do it without you all. We'll be back here, folks. All right. Next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, another live stream guest. And we're still dropping audio shows. So make sure that you're subscribing to those shows. Once again, I want to thank Lynn Elmore for also joining me this week on Listen In with KNN. Check out that show. And we've got lots more Maryland grades coming to the show as well. And also tomorrow, I want to say congratulations and good luck to my alma mater, Clarksburg High School, who will be competing for a national championship girls basketball. So we're very excited to go root them on at the University of Maryland tomorrow. And also, folks, enjoy March Madness. Lots of great games going on. Of course, for me, it's Fear the Turtle and Go Terps. But again, same time, same place next week. And also looking forward this weekend to the young men coming into town in Washington, D.C., brought to you all by the National Alliance of African-American Athletes for the Walk-Ins Awards. That's all happening this Saturday in Bethesda. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. And a special thanks to my team for making this show possible. And I'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.
Follow Kelsey on social media at The Real K Nelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at Kelsey. Follow Kelsey on social media at The Real K Nelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at Kelsey.
The Lady Clipper Barbershop has been serving the needs of Washington, D.C. since 2017. The Lady Clipper is a full-service, woman-owned barbershop conveniently located in the epicenter of the historic U Street corridor. We specialize in all hair types. We believe that the key to providing great service is our ambitious and knowledgeable staff. We are always working to find new ways to provide you with the best service possible. The Lady Clipper Barbershop blends an eye for style with a passion for precision. Visit their website at theladyclipper.com to schedule an appointment. That's theladyclipper.com.
Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio now offers official Kelsey Nicole Nelson apparel in a variety of styles for men and women. Fashionable shirts, leggings, hats, jackets, and more. Order now and get 15% off and free shipping. Just enter promo code KNN. Get your Listen In with KNN wearables today. And check out Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio with Kelsey Nicole Nelson.